biggest fear is that I can't see. Sin's all the same, it's just not for me. So much going on that I can't breathe. I need your hand to come save me. Lord, I'm not bluffing, it's above me. I'm so far beyond that I can't keep up. I need your promise, I'm above me. If you just take the time to hear me out. At times I wanna run away, so sick and tired of doing things my way. I just wanna know there's a brighter day. Nothing's ever the same, it's only other way. I can do it on my own. 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 Seems like everybody's against me. Used to hear me, now they don't hear me. Man, I can't blame that working real deep. But your opinion ain't gon' change what's good. I can't let them body not change me. Switching me around and rearrange me. Get destroyed the heart, now to ain't me. I came too far to let them rock me back to sleep. At times I wanna run away, so sick and tired of doing things my way. I just wanna know there's a brighter day. Nothing's ever the same, it's only other way. I can do it on my own. 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 At times I wanna run away, so sick and tired of doing things my way. I just wanna know there's a brighter day. Nothing's ever the same, it's only other way. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own.
I can imagine living without you, holding this book, thinking about you. So much on how to, I'm better than this. Looking the back, I'm ducking the past, demons are back. I'm holding the bag, there's no going back. I'm gripping it hard, I'm looking at thee. We focus on living, spiritual healing, I wanna feel it. She with the vision, we washing our garments, soon to be busy. We want deliverance, last call, the sky's splitting. Watch it repenting. I want a life without no ceilings. I wanna block that do not fear me. I wanna bump so that they hear me come. Riding around that New Jerusalem. Ride with me, ride out. Ride with me. That's right, that's right. Ride with me. Ride around we go. Ride around now, ride around we go.
Everyone suffers from police misconduct. Although we deal with our constitutional rights being violated, innocent citizens being arrested, and constant harassment, we sit and do nothing about it. You may be asking, what can I do? Did you know that you may have potentially left hundreds of thousands of dollars floating in the air? Yes, you may have had the rights that you didn't know you have violated. Having your rights violated is more than being abused by the police. Did you know that when you are stopped by police, there is a 75% chance that one of your constitutionally protected rights were violated? The United States Supreme Court have made several rulings making even the smallest of violations by police unconstitutional. Do you know what these violations are? My name is Abaya Israel, and I'm a former police officer and a former sheriff deputy. I want you to download my free ebook and register to take my online video course titled Surviving the Police, so you can learn your constitutionally protected rights. The next time a police officer violates your rights, you will be aware and alert and able to fight back the legal way. Don't be that person who was taken advantage of and you never received compensation because you were unaware. Register for my online video course today, so if you are unjustly targeted by police, you will be compensated. It's time to help put an end to police misconduct. Register today at WeThePeopleUniversity.com.
Shalom Care, grooming essentials for the modern man of color. Shalom Care, grooming essentials for the modern man of color. Paraben-free, peace with care. For beard mousse, armpit mousse, or jock mousse, visit shalomcare4u2u.com. Shalom Care.
Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this platform by individuals, callers, or invited guests are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with the brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send your donation to PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash App, $Sal Showtime. Thanks for your support.
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat, shalom. You're now tuning in to Debate Talk for You Radio. I am Gabar Alaha, and this is the Sabbath Meal, episode 42. Today, we're going to be getting into Apostle Paul's position in the church. Before I begin, I just want to give all praises to the Most High Yahweh and the authority of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, who was commonly called Jesus Christ, and to everyone tuning in now, whether it was live or on the playback. May Yahweh keep you and watch over you always. Big shout out to Sal Showtime for allowing us to do our thing here on this platform. You guys see the information scrolling down at the bottom, so make sure you like, share, subscribe, and donate, and definitely hit the like button so we can get picked up in the algorithm, and make sure you stay up to date to what goes on here on Debate Talk for You. So once again, Sabbath Meal, episode 42, gonna be getting into Apostle Paul's position in the church. All right. So why am I dealing with this topic? Because I really think people just don't know what Paul's position actually was in the church. I don't think they really know. So, and he's held highly esteemed by a lot of Christians, as if in some cases they put him over Christ in some instances, as much as they go to his letters. So we're just gonna deal with the history, and we're gonna show his actual position in the church. All right. Uh Real quick, just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Shebrew Light. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Definitely appreciate you tuning in. All right. So as you guys start to come in, today I'll be doing the PowerPoint, so you won't see too much of me today. Just wanted to kind of pop on screen real quick before I get this PowerPoint going, but that's going to be the bulk of it. And I don't plan on holding you guys for too long. This is actually a fairly quick lesson. We may be out of here in under an hour, maybe under 45 minutes. This is a fairly quick lesson. It's not a lot to it, So once again, we're going to be dealing with Paul's position, Apostle Paul's position in the church. All right. So I'm not going to waste any time. We're just going to jump right to it. I'll be checking back to see if any comments are left in the chat. Once I'm done, being that this is a fairly quick lesson, I'll definitely put the link out so that way you guys can come in, discuss some things. If you guys got additional information that you want to add to it, or if you have an opposing view, that you want to bring based upon what I have shared with you guys today. I do ask that you do keep it clean if you decide to come on, because Debate Talk for You does not condone any foul language, any disrespect, or any name calling. All right. As well as in the chat as well. So let's keep it clean. All right. So let's go ahead. Salakia, let's go ahead and let's jump into this. So let me pull this back up for you guys. All right. Here we go. Apostle Paul's position in the church. Okay. Let me arm myself so that way I can come over here and actually see it. I'm gonna drop this banner off for a second because I want you guys to be able to see everything. So I'm gonna drop that banner off. And then let me go ahead and pull it up over here. All right, here we go. Apostle Paul's position in the church. Okay. Apostle Paul's position in the church. All right, here we go. All right, so we're gonna start here. Galatians chapter 1, verse 1 says, Paul, an apostle not of men, neither by man, but by Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and God the Father, who raised him from the dead. Okay. So now we're going to start with what's quoted here in Galatians, because Galatians is one of the most widely used epistles or letters to establish the Christian doctrine. It's one of the most widely used ones. Okay. So, and oftentimes Israelites have to go into Galatians and actually debunk Galatians as far as the understanding that Christians present in it. So I decided, by how I was led of the Most High, to start with this scripture to show a couple of things here that we're going to deal with. So Paul, he's an apostle. Okay. We got to understand what an apostle actually is, because unfortunately, there are those individuals, certain individuals, who feel like having the title of an apostle means that you're in charge. Okay. And that's not what an apostle necessarily is. Okay. So we're gonna deal with that. All right. It also says in parentheses, it says not of men, neither by man, but by Yahweh Shai Mashiach and Allahim the Father, who raised him from the dead. Okay. So we're going to deal with what's here in the parentheses also, because oftentimes when you see stuff in parentheses, it's commonly referred to as uh a parenthetical phrase. All right, a parenthetical phrase. All right, um which is, or sometimes a translator thought. Okay, it's also called that, a translator thought, when things are in parentheses. Okay, so we're going to deal with all of this in order to understand Paul's position as an apostle. Okay, we're going to look into all of this. All right, so let's continue on. All right, so now, what is an apostle? What's an apostle? All right, according to G in the Greek, G652, this word is apostolos, apostolos, and the Thayers defines it as a delegate, a messenger, one sent forth with orders, specifically applied to the 12 apostles of Christ, in a broader sense applied to other eminent Christian teachers of Barnabas, of Timothy, and Silvanus, and it's a masculine noun. Okay, so the Strong's defines it from G649, which is a delegate, specifically an ambassador of the gospel, officially a commissioner of Christ, apostle with miraculous powers, apostle, messenger, he that is sent. Okay. So simply put, according to this Greek definition, an apostle is someone who sent out. So that means that someone had to send them out, which means that someone is over them and had to be sent out. Okay. Now, concerning Paul, because it says that he's an apostle, but it wasn't by man. Okay. It was by the Most High and by his only begotten Son that he became an apostle, which is true, which is true. Okay. And we're going to deal with that in a moment. All right. So now let's continue on real quick. So now this is in the Greek. So this is the corresponding word for apostle in Greek. I mean, Salaki, not in Greek, in Hebrew. My apologies, y'all. In Hebrew, the corresponding word for apostle in Hebrew is the word H7971, and it is the Hebrew word shalak. All right. My apologies if you can't see it. I try to make sure that I can get it all on there without it like being split into two slides. Okay. So it's the Hebrew word shalak. And Brown Driver's Briggs defines it as to send away, to let go, to stretch out. In the qual stem, it is to send, to stretch out, to extend, to direct, to send away, to let loose. In the nephal stem is to be sent. And in the piel stem is to send off or away or out or forth, dismiss, give over, cast out, let go, set free, to shoot forth of branches, to let down, to shoot, and the pual stem is to be sent off, be put away, be divorced, be be impaled, and in the hyphal stem, it's to send, and it is a verb. Okay, Strong's defines this as to send away, out, for or out, um, in a great variety of applications. Anywise, appoint, bring, cast away, bring or the way, cast away or cast out, to forsake, to give up, to grow long, to lay, leave, let, depart, down, down, go loose, push away, to put away, or to put forth, or to put in or put out, to reach forth, to send away, to send forth, send out, and so on and so on. Spreadsheet, stretch forth, out, so on and so forth. Okay. So that's what an apostle is. This is the Hebrew corresponding word for apostle that we find in the Hebrew. All right. It is the Hebrew word shalach. All right. So once again, we see that it simply means someone who is sent away, sent out. Okay. Now in the Hebrew, this word shalach is used in a variety of ways depending on the context. It can be used for someone who's sent away, like a wife in a divorce. You know, it could be someone like a messenger, and so on and so forth. Okay. So now let's continue on. So now we got these Hebrew and Greek definitions. An apostle is someone who's sent out with orders, which means that it's someone who had to send them out. Okay. It was someone who had to send them out. All right. So we need to understand that Paul was sent out with orders. Okay. That's what he was. He was sent out with orders. All right. Let's continue on. All right. So now when we go into the ancient Hebrew lexicon Bible, this is actually produced by Jeff Benner. So this is the ancient Hebrew lexicon Bible for the word shalach. All right. This is what this word is. All right. So as you see here, I have the pictographic Hebrew up there, which shows the shin or the sha, uh, the lamed or the la, and it's commonly called the the thet or the cha. All right, the chet or the cha. All right, so um, we see here they pretty much have the same definitions: to send, projectile, to send. Um, a weapon that is sent by the hand, also a plant shoot as sent out of the ground, sending, to present, table, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is what Jeff Benner has for the Hebrew word shalach in the ancient Hebrew lexicon Bible. All right, this is how it is defined. Okay, so just want to share all the resources with you guys so that way I can be as thorough as I can be while at the same time aiming to be concise. Okay, so this is what we have here for this definition. Now, what I find interesting about this definition is the fact that right here for shalak in the in this particular stem right here, how it's being used, um, it's a projectile or a weapon that is sent by the hand. Okay, so it's a weapon that is sent by the hand. So that's interestingly going to make sense also later. Okay, so let's continue on. All right, come back over here. All right, so now Proverbs 25 and 13. It says, as the cold of snow in the time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to them that send him, for he refresheth the soul of his masters. Now, why do I have send him highlighted? Why do I have this highlighted? Well, this is highlighted because this is the Hebrew word shalach being used here. All right, in this particular verse. The Hebrew word for send him is the Hebrew word shalach. Okay. So, as the cold of snow in the time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to them that are shalach, those that are sent. For he refresheth the soul of his masters. All right. Real quick, just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Kashmir Gatekeepers Network. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. All right. So, once again, this is the Hebrew word shalach that is used in this verse. Okay. So, this is actually the catalyst for how apostleship is operated. Okay. This is the catalyst for it. This is the proverb for that. All right. An apostle is a faithful messenger that is sent, that refreshes the souls of those that he or she is sent by. Okay, so Paul, being an apostle, will have to refresh the soul of his master, which would be Hamashiach Yahushai. Okay, but remember, we're dealing with Apostle Paul's position in the church because, yes, he was made an apostle not by man, but by according to the Most High and the only begotten Son. Okay, so let's start dealing with that a little bit more. Okay, let me come back over here. Okay, all right. So now let's deal with this account. So this is Acts chapter 9, starting at verse 1. It says, "And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, Yahushai, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And he trembled and astonished and astonished. Slack, let me read that verse again. Verse 6. And he trembled and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. So I'm going to pause there for a second. Okay. So now this is where we see Paul is being put into the position of an apostle because he's being given orders to be sent out to do something. Okay. So he's being given orders by the Messiah to do something. The Messiah is sending him out to do something. Verse 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man. But they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink. Okay. So now let's continue on. We're going to continue with the story real quick. All right. So verse 10, it says, And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias, and to him said the Lord in a vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Lord. And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus. For behold, he prayeth. And he hath seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him, that he might receive his sight. Then Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard by many of this man, how much evil he hath done to thy saints at Jerusalem. And here he hath authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. Okay, so I'm gonna pause there for a second. So here's a couple things I wanna point out. All right, so when we read Galatians 1:1, it says how Paul was an apostle, but it's not by man. But clearly we see Ananias is a man who's involved in this. Okay. He's being used by the Most High. So ultimately, the Most High is directing it. Okay. But again, I prefer to be contextually honest. Okay. When it says neither by man, we got to understand what that means. All right. It's neither by the power of man. It's neither by the power of man. Because clearly we see here that Ananias was involved. He was involved. He was being used by the Most High. So it's neither by the power of man, but man was involved. Okay. All right. All right. We'll all right. We're going to say Shabbat Shalom to Israelite man. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. All right. You y'all only. But I mean, we're not dealing with that today, man. We just dealing with this with Paul's position in the church. All right. So we see here that there was a man involved. The power of man is not involved, but a man is involved, Ananias, in how Paul is becoming into how he's coming into his apostleship. Okay. So now continuing on, let's read verse 15. It says, But the Lord said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. Okay. So we see here that Ananias is like, wait a minute. This is the same guy that was getting people arrested, for actually preaching about the Messiah. This is the same dude. This is the same guy that was getting people arrested. And now you want me to heal him? He's like, hold on. Like, this dude might try to get me arrested. But even Ananias is like, had to get told orders. Look, go thy way, for he's a vessel. He's going to go into these other nations and he's going to declare my name. Okay. So verse 16, it says, for I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And Ananias went his way and entered into the house, and putting his hands on him said, Brother Saul, the Lord, even Jesus Yahushua, that appeared unto thee in the way as thou camest, hath sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight and be filled with the Holy Ghost. And immediately there fell from his eyes as it had been scales, and he received sight forthwith and arose and was baptized. Okay. So now this is how Paul comes into his apostleship. Okay. This is how he comes into his apostleship. All right. He gets visited in the spirit by the Messiah. He is then turned blind, and a disciple who by the name of Ananias actually has the power of the Most High with him to heal Saul of his blindness. Okay. And from there on, Paul is sent out to do the work. Okay. So that's an apostle. It's someone who's sent out with orders. Ananias, a disciple, was also sent to follow orders. So he's acting as an apostle as well. So apostles take orders. That's the first thing we got to establish. Apostles take orders. Okay. They receive orders and then they go out and then they execute them. Okay. So that's going to be key to understanding Paul's position in the church. Okay. So now moving on, let's continue on. All right. Acts chapter 9, verse 26 and 27. So we're jumping down. So verse 26 says, and when Saul was come to Jerusalem, he essayed to join himself to the disciples, but they were all afraid of him and believed not that he was a disciple. But Barnabas took him and brought him to the apostles and declared unto them how he had seen the Lord in the way, and that he had spoken to him, and how he had preached boldly at Damascus in the name of Jesus or Yahushua. So here's a couple of things I wanna point out. Okay, so whenever Barnabas and Saul, he wasn't called Paul yet. He was still called Saul at this time. Whenever they go to Jerusalem, they're looking at him like, hold on, he's a disciple of Christ. Nah, man. It's the same guy that was getting folks arrested, that was persecuting people. Barnabas had to take him to these same apostles in Jerusalem. So now there's other apostles, right? There's other apostles that are in Jerusalem, and he had to vouch for him. He had to vouch for him. So look, he's not coming in just running stuff, right? He's not coming into the church, into the ecclesia or into the quahal, and he's just running stuff. He had to get vouched for by Barnabas, because they were like, man, who is this dude, man? Like, this is the same dude that was persecuting everybody. Who is this? Nah, he's not no disciple. So Barnabas had to co-sign for him, had to vouch for him, okay? Just for him to be accepted first, okay? So Paul is not coming in with some chief position, okay? He's not coming in like that. All right, so that's the first thing. He had to get vouched for, okay? So let's continue on. All right, so now this is Acts chapter 11, verse 29 and 30. It reads, then the disciples, every man according to his ability, determined to send relief unto the brethren which dwelt at Judea, which also they did, and sent it to the elders by the hands of Barnabas and Saul. So if they were sent to Jerusalem with relief, I mean, if they were sent to Judea with relief, every man according to his ability, as he was able to give. And it was sent by the hands of Barnabas and Saul to the elders. That means what? Barnabas and Saul have elders. Barnabas and Saul have elders. It's as simple as that. They have elders. They have people who are authority over them. All right. So the elders in Judea, these are the ones who have position of authority over Barnabas and Saul, who Barnabas had to go to in order to vouch for Saul, so that way he can be accepted and be sent back out to do the work by these same elders. Okay. So Paul is these. Look, let's just cut to the chase. Paul is not in charge. He's not the head dude in charge. He's not. So everything that Paul has taught or may teach, it's got to be in accordance with the orders that come from Jerusalem. Because just like how the Messiah was visited by just like how the Messiah visited Paul in the spirit, the Messiah also dealt with the elders while he was alive. Okay. And that's where the authority was established in Judea. The authority is established there. Paul and Barnabas, they knew this. They knew this. That's why they went. That's why Barnabas had to co-sign for him. Okay. Paul ain't just coming in like he's in charge. All right. He fell in line. All right. He played his position. He didn't try to usurp any authority. He didn't do any of that. Okay. Let's continue on. All right. Acts chapter 15, verse 1 and 2. And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren and said, except ye be circumcised after the manner of Moses, ye cannot be saved. When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem unto the apostles and elders about this question. All right. So I'm not going to dig too much into what this circumcision is all about, because that's going to take it down another rabbit hole. I can deal with that at another time. We're dealing with Paul's position in the church. And we see here, once again, whenever there was an issue, whenever there was disputations, whenever there was strife, all right, whenever there wasn't an agreement, Paul and Barnabas were like, hey, let's go up to where? Jerusalem, unto the apostles and elders about this question. Okay. So they didn't just go off on their own. It didn't just, and they were just like, oh, well, you know what? They're coming from Jerusalem, they're coming from Judea, and they're saying this, but we don't agree with it. So we're just gonna continue to do our thing. No, that is not what they did. They kept order. They kept order. They were like, you know what? Let's go to Jerusalem. Let's go to Jerusalem and let's go see what we need to do about this. Okay. So it says, John Williams says, lawless, small, bald, hypocritical, apostate Paul is one of the greatest men of all. Right. The key word is one of the greatest men, but he's not the head dude. He's not the head dude. Okay. He is not the head dude. And I want to make it clear. Paul is definitely a significant individual. He's just not in charge. He's just not in charge. And since he's not in charge, this doctrine that he's teaching, it's not his. It's not his. All right. Again, it has to be in accordance to what's coming out of Jerusalem. Headquarters. All right. The church of the firstborn. Okay. So let's continue on. All right. All right, Galatians chapter 2 and 2. So this is the parallel scripture that kind of coincides with Acts 15. All right, so it says, and I went up by revelation and communicated unto them privately that the gospel which I preach among the Gentiles, but privately to them which were of reputation, lest by any means I should run or had run in vain. So Paul basically goes there and he had to explain himself, what he was out there teaching, what he was out there preaching. Okay. But he didn't make it a spectacle. It was a closed door conversation. It was a private conversation that he had with the elders and the apostles there. Okay, which would be who? Peter, James, and so on and so on, the original 12. Okay. These would be your elders and apostles that will have the authority. And we're going to see that. We're going to see that more specifically, James. Okay. And Paul is going to talk about that. All right. Before we close out, Paul is going to mention it. Okay. He's going to mention it himself. All right. Let's continue on. So we see here that Paul, once again, he had to go and explain himself. He had to go and explain himself to the elders in Jerusalem about what he was teaching while he was out in his ministry. Okay. He had to go back to the elders. So even though the Messiah handpicked him in the spirit, Paul didn't take that upon himself and be like, well, I'm greater than all the other disciples. He didn't do that. He still knew the order. Hey, authority is in Jerusalem. I need to go there. I need to go there. All right. He did not try to usurp any authority. Paul is not the head guy. All right. Let's continue on. Okay. So now this is Acts. We're coming back to Acts chapter 15. Now we're going to read verse 22. It says, then it pleased the apostles and elders with the whole church to send chosen men of their own company to Antioch with Paul and Barnabas, namely Judas, surnamed Barsabbas, and Silas, chief men among the brethren. So we see here that what? Paul was sent right back out, but he had company with him this time. Paul and Barnabas were sent back out, but they had company with him. All right. Now, later in the chapter, this is, of course, whenever Paul and Barnabas, they split. And then when you get the account in Galatians 2, this is also around the same time. This is when that issue with Peter happens. Okay. That Paul is actually addressing. All this actually goes on at the same time. Okay. So this particular council, after this council, it was like a lot that had happened. Like Paul ends up splitting from Barnabas. You know what I'm saying? There was the contention with Peter where you got to check Peter, which is what you read about in Galatians chapter 2. But all of this is taking place during the time that we see that's historically recorded in Acts 15. Okay. But once again, once Paul and Barnabas go to Jerusalem about this matter concerning circumcision, James gives instructions on what to do and then how to teach it. And then when you read later down in the chapter, because I'm not trying to drag it out, when you read later down in the chapter, the orders are given by who? James, on what Paul and Barnabas need to be teaching going forward. Okay. So let me come back over here real quick. So you're saying that you says I think Paul called Peter and James super apostles, but I don't know. Now I don't know about super apostles, but we will read the scripture where he does address them. Okay, we're actually gonna address that. Okay, so continuing on. So let's go to. All right, now we're at Acts 21. Acts 21. All right, starting at verse 18. It says, and the following day, Paul went in with us unto James, and the elders were present. So we see. So now Paul is back in Jerusalem. After he got sent back out, he's back in Jerusalem
Bluetooth
again.
disconnected.
Okay. And he's back in Jerusalem, and now he's present with the elders and with James, right? So verse 19, it says, and when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry. And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord and said unto him, thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law. and they are informed of thee, that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs. What is it therefore? The multitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men which have a vow on them. Take them and purify thyself with them, and be at charges with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that thou know those things where lost my spot, whereof they are informed of thee concerning thee, are nothing, but that thou, let me read that verse again. I don't want to butcher it. Let me go back to verse 24. It says, them take and purify them, and purify thyself with them, and be at charge with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things whereof they were informed concerning thee are nothing, but that thou thyself also walkest orderly and keepest the law. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing, save only that they keep themselves from things offered to idols, and from blood, and from strangled, and from fornication. Okay, so Paul, he's with James. All right, he already got an order once back in Acts 15. He's back here with James again. James is giving him, this is not a suggestion. James is not giving him a suggestion here. This is an order. This is a command. Hey, look, go do this. And what does Paul do? Verse 26. Then Paul took the men, and the next day, purifying himself with them, entered into the temple to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, until that an offering should be offered for every one of them. Hey, James told him what to do. He didn't suggest, he didn't offer advice. He gave him a order, a command. Go do this, so that way they will quit tripping about you keeping the law. Go do this, so that way they don't keep thinking that you're lawless. Paul didn't argue with him. He went and did it. Didn't try to usurp authority. Didn't try to be like, I don't want to do that. Look, no, the Messiah visited me. I'm in charge. I say when I should, complete my Nazirite vow. Paul didn't do that. He stayed in order. He stayed in order. He did not buck up against the authority that was in Jerusalem. James had the authority at this time. Okay, he had authority at this time over those who were sent out from Judea. All right. So again, Paul is not the head guy. So I know we have a lot of what do they call them? Paulinians, the Paulinians or Paulites. I think the more proper term is Paulinians. I think that's what's commonly used, but I've heard Paulites too. So, but yes, Paul was not the head guy. Okay. So all this, but Paul said, well, whatever Paul said has to be in accordance with what's coming from Jerusalem, which is where what? The law goes forth from. Because that's what's going to be in the future. The law shall go forth from Zion, Jerusalem. The law is going to go forth from there. So Paul, whatever he's going out and he's teaching, has to be in accordance with what the authority is in Jerusalem, which is what? The law and the prophets, the testimony of Hamashiach Yahushua, who is commonly called Jesus Christ. Okay? So we need to understand that Paul's position in the church is not one where he's just in charge of everybody. All right. I'm not saying that he doesn't have people under him, because clearly when you're reading his letters, he's got people under him. Clearly he does. Okay. So it's not to say that he doesn't have any authority over anybody else. All right. And we're going to read about that. We're going to actually read about that. Okay. So let's continue on. All right. So this is actually the last scripture here. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 9 through 15. Am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Jesus Christ or Hamashiach Yahushua our Lord? Or ye not my work in the Lord? If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you. For the seal of mine apostleship are ye in the Lord. My answer to them that do examine me is this: have we not power to eat and to drink? Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the Lord and Cephas? Okay, so what is Paul saying here? He's is specifically in verse 4. Okay, now we know he's an apostle. He was sent out initially by the Messiah. Okay, and then when he goes to Jerusalem, we see that he gets orders to be sent back out by James with what to teach going forward concerning the matter of circumcision. Okay, now we see here in verse 4, he says, have we not power to eat and to drink? Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the Lord and Cephas? So Cephas would be Peter. Okay, so now here's what we got to understand: if one apostle can lead another apostle, and then we see that in Jerusalem when they went, it says they went to the elders and the apostles, but Paul's an apostle, yet he was given orders to be sent out. Okay, so apostles can lead other apostles. Okay, apostles can lead about other apostles. All right, have we not power to lead about a sister? Yes, that's right, in accordance with the law. A wife? Yes, that's in accordance with the law, as well as other apostles and and as the brethren of the Lord and Cephas. Okay, so do we so does Paul have the power to lead other apostles? Absolutely, and he did, like Timothy, Titus, and so on, Philemon. Okay, he led he led these other apostles. He led them as he was led by those individuals, by those elders and apostles in Jerusalem, and as he was led by the Messiah. He was led. Paul was led. Paul is not in charge though, but he was led. He does have an authority, but he's not the authority. He is not the authority. Okay, so we need to understand that. All right, and that is the end of that lesson there. So let me put the screen back up real quick. All right, so that is the end of that. All right, so once again, Paul is not the head guy in charge. He does have authority, but he is not the head guy in charge. All right, so the link is going out in the chat. The link is going out in the chat if you guys want to come in and dialogue about any of it. Again, I like I said, I already knew that this was going to be a fairly quick lesson. Where is this link at? Why don't I see it? That's odd. Let me try to send it out again, y'all. For some reason, it didn't show up in the chat. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, so I'll send it out again. All right, hold on one second. Oh, there it goes. Okay, cool. Now I see it. All right, so the link is in the chat, you guys. The link is in the chat if you guys want to come in and discuss this. Once again, please keep it clean. As you already know, no foul language, no disrespect, no name calling. Let's keep it clean here on Debate Talk for You. Okay. So like I say, it was gonna be fair, it's gonna be real quick. You guys already know I don't like to keep you for too long. Like to just get in and get out and get it all over with. So so let me see chat real quick as I see while I wait to see if anybody's gonna come in. So we got so up next is saying, and Paul's name is not on the foundation of the gates of the New Jerusalem, but the names of the 12 are including Peter and James. Enough said. Interesting. Okay. And then it says sounds like Paul kept the law. I mean, yeah, but I wasn't trying to open up that can of worms, man, because I know when you deal with Paul, a lot of stuff comes up, about who's getting salvation, whether it's only for Israel or whether it's for everybody, the law. I mean, a lot of stuff just comes up when you're dealing with Paul. So I tried to just keep it to his position in the church. All right. I try to keep it his position in the church, but understanding his position in the church, yes, you got to touch on whether he kept the law or not, because he would he would because if he's not keeping the law, then that means that he's not in accordance with the authority that's coming from Jerusalem. All right. So let me see. It says, I know they say the Bible is perfect, but it looks like Luke describes Paul differently than he describes himself. It says also Paul and Peter didn't see eye to eye. Right. Right. And again, I'm not sure what you mean by Luke describing Paul differently. Maybe you could come in, maybe you can come in and explain a little bit more, because the chat might not be doing you enough justice. So maybe you should come in and dialogue on that a little bit more, because I'm not really understanding that first part. But it says also Paul and Peter didn't see eye to eye. Well, yeah, that is correct. They definitely had an issue, and according to the information that I've studied, that issue was because how Peter was in Acts chapter 10 concerning Cornelius, and then he kind of changed later. Okay, so I think that's what the issue was concerning Peter and Paul. But again, we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with the fact that Peter, Salakia, Paul's position in the church. Paul's position in the church. All right. So, all right. So now it says, did not Paul say it is a shame for men to have long hair, but he took the vow of a Nazarite? I'm confused. Yes, he did have a Nazarite vow. All right. And that First Corinthians 11, that's a whole lesson in itself. Okay, that is a whole lesson in of itself. Okay, because there were certain customs that were going on back then, and the shortest answer I can give you is gender swapping. They were gender swapping. Had nothing to do with a Nazarite vow, because that's a law. So that necessarily, and the Nazarite vow is not just attributed to men. Okay. The Nazarite vow is not just attributed to men, it's attributed to women also. Okay. So men and women can do a Nazarite vow. It's not exclusive to only men. Okay. He said, don't open up that can of worms with Cornelius. Nah, I'm not doing that. If anybody even addresses me about that today, I'm not even gonna deal with that because I don't feel like I said, some of these topics, they're like they deserve their own show. So I don't wanna, you know, saturate this topic with other outside topics. Okay. Again, we dealing with Paul's position in the church. All right. And I was speaking with a brother last night, and he was like, hey man, you should go here, you should go there. And I'm like, man, I'm not trying to open up these can of worms though. Like, I don't got that kind of time, you know. Uh so I just don't want to deal with that today. All right. Dealt with that enough in my nearly 13 years in this truth. I've dealt with those topics enough. All right. So um but again, we just dealing with Paul's position in the church. Okay, Paul's position in the church, and he was not the head guy. He just was not the head guy. Okay, so we need to understand that. Okay, and because he wasn't the head guy, he's got to fall in line with the authority that was just already established before he even came on the scene, and he knows that. That's why he went to Jerusalem with Barnabas. Okay. Uh All right. So it says Paul did not say he went 3 days to Damascus, but 14 years. Paul didn't talk about his conversation nor any Nazarite vow. Okay. Uh yeah, I'm not I guess you're addressing like Israelite man. I'm not sure what you are addressing. So we'll just continue on. Because now I'm getting a little confused. Because again, that can of worms gets opened up concerning Paul. So I'm just gonna stick to the topic, all right? So when they say Shabbat Shalom to Michael Paul, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna open up those can of worms. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. We gonna stick to the topic. All right. I'm not gonna saturate um other stuff concerning Paul with this topic. All right. So let's try to keep it to the topic. Because we get way too far off. All right. Uh So it says understood, but whenever you are ready, let me know. Okay, yeah, no doubt. Email me, and then we can definitely set something up, man. Whether you want to do it live or we can do it offline, man. We don't have to make it a spectacle. We can do it offline or we can do it live, man. Just let me know and just hit me up, man. My information is in the description. All right, so yeah, y'all. uh, well. Gave it some time. No one's gonna come in, but y'all definitely communicating through the chat. Maybe it's too early for some of y'all if you're on the West Coast. If you're in other places, it's definitely noon or nearing it. On the East Coast, it's about to be 1. So, but yeah. Anyway, I know it's a lot of us keep Shabbat today, so you guys might have things that are going on. So with that, I'm gonna get ready to sign off of here, y'all. I definitely do thank y'all for tuning in once again to episode 42 of Sabbath Meal. As you guys know, once I hit 50, I'm gonna be stepping back for a good while. Um, but most high willing, I will be back next week to continue going over these topics. You know, I said I was gonna start dealing with more controversial ones. I'm like, man, this is just a little bit of light controversy, and we see how it opens up a lot of different doors. Okay. Like John Williams says, I don't have the app. So with StreamYard, you don't need an app. You don't need an app at all. Nothing is required to be installed to use StreamYard. You just simply use your mobile browser, or if you're on your computer, you use your internet browser. There is no app for StreamYard. Okay, everything is ran directly through the internet browser. Okay, you just click on the link and then you just give your device that you are using permissions to your microphone settings and your speaker settings, and you're good to go. Okay. I do suggest that you do use a computer though, because sometimes when you use the phone for StreamYard, there's definitely a lot of issues. Okay. Um, all right. So First Corinthians High Life says First Corinthians 11:16. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom. We have no such custom, neither the churches of God. So I'm not sure why you posted that scripture. It's very vague, but yeah. All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and get ready to sign off of here, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and leave y'all with that song I played earlier by Jeremiah. I Can't Do It, or ID ICDI. I think that's what the abbreviation is. I'm gonna go ahead and leave y'all with that. Um, hold on. Let me before I do this. It says I can't get data on my computer right now. All right, man. No worries, no worries. Like I said, you can use your mobile phone. I mean, it does work. I'm just telling you that, sometimes there is issues. I think with the iPhone, you're good as long as you don't have too many apps installed and it's not like a bunch of stuff running in the background. Same thing with Android, though sometimes Android does have some issues. If you're using an Android phone, you have to use the Chrome browser. And then if you're using an iPhone, I believe they only allow Safari to use StreamYard. They may have made some updates, but that's what I know currently. All right, unless they have made some updates, because they definitely made some changes. Because as you can see, I'm gonna show this to y'all. I'm gonna let y'all check this out. You can actually do background music on here while I'm talking. So I may end up taking advantage of this feature. So if I put this background music on real quick, let me play this. So as you guys see, I can kind of have this music playing in the background. I can keep it low. And you just kind of just keep it going. So, all right. Oh, joy. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. All right. So I guess I'll leave that background music playing and let it be a little bit mellow while I talk to y'all. Turn it down a little bit more. So yeah, they got a bunch of new features on here. It's actually kind of cool. Turn up just a little bit more. Yeah, yeah, they got this little background music now. So I may start taking advantage of just to kind of keep y'all tuned in, like and really treat it like the radio. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and sign up off of here, y'all. Let me put this banner back up here for the information you guys see scrolling down at the bottom. Make sure you follow all the social media platforms, like, share, subscribe, donate, man, and definitely support Sal. Support Sal Showtime, y'all, because I mean, without him, I wouldn't even be here. Okay. When I'm saying donate, that doesn't go to me. All right. This is for Sal and the contributions that he has made to allow us to be able to come on here and do our thing. So definitely donate and show your support. If you have a business that you would like advertised reach out so we can make provisions to get that going and up here. And as always, may Yahweh keep you and watch over you always. I bid you all a farewell and Shabbat Shalom.